Hello, 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 hello. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening for this pop-up live stream. Before we get too into the weeds of things, let me know if you can see me and you can hear me. So if you can see me okay and you can hear me okay, just drop a yes in the comments. Drop a yes in the comments if you can see me and if you can hear me. Super excited to talk to you guys today. So I'm going to intro myself for those of you who are new to me or have not joined me live before. My name is Ashley Kirkwood. I'm the owner of Speak Your Way to Cash, and I'm also the owner of a law firm. I founded a law firm a couple years ago called Mobile General Counsel. So I am a licensed attorney and professional speaker and speaking coach. I love what I do. And tonight I'm coming to you all live to discuss something that's really been on my heart and my mind as I talk to clients every day struggling with this: pricing. Okay. We're going to talk money. We're going to talk pricing, how you set your prices, and specifically some mindset shifts that I believe you all need to make in order to set prices in a way that serves you, your business, and your customer. Because let's just start there. Those are the three people that you are going to be, that you need to be thinking of at all times. Whenever you make any business decision, you want to think about, how does this serve me personally, right? How does it serve your customers? And how does it serve the business? You and the business are not the same entity. So, I mean, unless you are, that's a whole nother legal discussion, but you and the business are not necessarily supposed to be the same entity. So sometimes something can serve the business. Yes. Hey, Mike, how are you doing? Mike just commented where the money resides. So sometimes you can do things that serve the business, but they don't serve you personally, etc. So I want to talk about some mindset shifts that I want you all to make. And if you're taking notes, I'll give you like numbers so you can take notes, and hopefully someone can write some of this stuff in the chat. That way we're all on the same page. Number one, we're just gonna jump right in, right? Your rate is not your worth. Okay. Your rate is not your worth. This is a really important mindset shift that every single speaker needs to make. So if someone could just write that in the chat, your rate is not your worth. Your rate is not your worth. And this is very difficult for some of the people that I've worked with to really internalize, because honestly, if you think about how society sets everything up, what you make is kind of like how you are viewed in society. So in a lot of instances, we think, okay, I have a high paying job. I'm a high class person. Like, I make a lot of money. I'm a really good person. And we in society glorify people who make a ton of money. So that is why most of us believe our rate is our worth. Now, here's what happens when you're trying to set your fee as a speaker or as an entrepreneur and you come from a corporate background. You then begin to set your speaking rate based on the rate that people have given you in the past. So if you work in corporate and you make $80 an hour, you're like, all right, cool. I could do a 2-hour gig for $160. That's great. I'm getting my rate, right? If you are also like someone who has never been paid to speak, you struggle with going from I've never been paid to speak to charging $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to a client, because you're like, well, I'm not worth that. Like, no one has ever paid me that before. And you look to your past experiences, your past jobs, your past or current clients to determine your rate, which some people use as a proxy for their worth. So let me dispel this myth right now. I don't care what you did in the past. If you have a message to share with the world that will help organizations or colleges or associations or nonprofits transform the way their members or their employees think, then you definitely can set your rate, not based on what you've been paid, but based on the transformation you're able to provide. Your speaking rate should be based on experience and I'm worth it. All right, awesome. Love it. Love it. Okay, so here's the thing. Your rate is not your worth, right? Your rate is not your worth. And so when you can understand that, then it's easier for you to raise your rate. All right. And you're raising your rate based on what you can command in the marketplace, based on the transformation that you can provide. Now, a lot of people struggle to communicate their rate, and that is where it gets really tricky. You could charge $15,000 for the same thing someone charges $3,000 for, if you are able to communicate the value of what you're providing. If you stumble over the value of what you're providing, if you don't know how to put together a package, that's when it gets iffy. That's when it gets really difficult to raise your rate or to talk to your client about what it is that you're charging. I literally know people who've gone from never being paid to speak to charging $5,000. Those same people go from $5,000 to charging $7,500. Those same people go from $7,500 to charging $15,000. And the only difference is they learn how to communicate their value to clients and their confidence increases. It's not about them necessarily learning a new skill. And this is particularly, I guess I should give a disclaimer, okay? A lot of people that I work with in Speak Your Way to Cash Academy and in our programs and the people that come to our events, most of you watching right now have some level of corporate expertise or professional expertise that you've developed over years of being an entrepreneur or being in corporate. So I don't really attract a lot of folks who are just out here not knowing what they do. You already know what you do. You already know what you're going to teach. You already have the college degree, the advanced degree, the experience in entrepreneurship, the background, all of that I'm assuming is a given. Now, if you're someone who has no expertise, I do not advise you just hop out there and charge clients any and everything. No. Let me put my disclaimers in there. I am talking to those of you who went to college for this, have a graduate degree in it, and or have experience in it. I have a whole framework for how we determine what you should be talking about, but for now, I'll leave it at that. So if you're someone who has a level of expertise, either by degree, experience, or some other credential, just type "that's me" in the comments so I can know who's here. Type "that's me" in the comments. Degree, experience, or credential, right? We're going to use those as proxy for you knowing a topic. That is the first step. So just type a "that's me" in the comments if that's you. Now, the second step is packaging that expertise using, let me be specific, because this is where people miss it. And this is where coaching comes in. And this is where I really work with my clients. You can have a level of expertise, but if you cannot clearly, concisely, and quickly communicate that expertise to your clients, you're not going to be able to demand your highest rate potential in the market. Let me repeat that. If you cannot clearly, concisely, and quickly communicate that expertise to your client, you're not going to be able to demand your highest rate in the market. So a lot of the time when I'm working with people, the first step is, what's the framework that we're selling? How do we clearly and concisely define it using words that your clients care about, not words that you care about? All right. There's a lot we can go into here, but I'm going to just leave it at that so I can move on to the next thing. Your job does not set your rate. So what I mean by this, for those of you who are part-time or you work full-time, I call them corporate heroes. So you have a full-time job and you're looking to speak on the side and or make speaking your main business. But right now, you're working full-time. Just type corporate hero in the comments. All right. If that's you. And let me look at some of these comments on Instagram. Odell, you definitely could do 15K easy. Odell's another speaker. He does a lot of college engagements. He could easily get that rate. Okay. So one of the things that I want you all to note, your job does not set your speaking rate. I work with a lot of therapists, accountants, engineers, a lot of PhDs who get paid per class, like $35,000 to $5,000 per class. And when they come to me, they're like, okay, I'm going to set my rate based on what I would get in any of those mediums. Like whatever my job pays me, that's how I'm going to set my rate as a speaker. That's not how it works. And let me tell you why that's not how it works. All right. I just had a client, they signed a contract with me for just under $15,000 to do one speech. Now, they pay me $15,000 and I show up and do that one speech in 45 minutes. But behind the scenes, what all goes into that? This is what they need to pay for. This is what they need to pay for. Let me tell you what all goes into it, right? One, we have a graphic designer that makes the flyer for the client. We have an instructional designer that ensures that we're delivering content that is easily digestible by diverse learners, meaning people who learn in a variety of different ways. We have someone else who's going to help with the PowerPoint, someone else who helps with the workbook, all these different things. Then we have to do a run through. Then we have to do a tech run through. Now that we're virtual, we've invested a ton of money in our tech setup. See how clear this video is? These lights, that costs money. So all of those things go into that rate. Now, I don't give the client an invoice that says instructional designer X, administrator Y, this person Z, but when I first started my business, I wasn't thinking about all of the moving pieces that it takes and all the hours that it takes to prepare for a particular engagement. All right. I was just thinking about the end result. So that becomes, all that money was just becoming a wash. Because I don't know if you look at my Instagram today, I posted a video about what I got paid for my first engagement, and I held up a $100 bill. Okay. Because I think it was like $170, but they gave me a tip. So the rate we agreed to was like $100. This was years ago. That it wasn't good, but one of the reasons that that I was okay with that in the beginning is because I love speaking. Like I wouldn't now do it for free, but I love speaking so much so that in the beginning I was willing, to do it for free. And it was fun. Like getting on stage, talking to people, impacting people, them coming up to you afterwards, asking questions. All of that is really fun. And it is as cool as it sounds, right? So I was willing to do it for whatever in the very beginning of my career. The problem is when I decided to make speaking a business, businesses have business models that they're set up around. That was not a solid business model. It wasn't one that allowed me to do the things I needed to do to provide one, excellent service or anything else. So if you all have any questions about this stuff that I've already said, just drop your questions in the comments. Awesome. Okay, I'm seeing some comments here. If you have any questions, please let me know. So your job does not set your speaking rate. Your job does not set your speaking rate. Why? Because speaking is in my opinion, the way that we charge for speaking is value-based. We don't charge based on an hourly rate for our speaking engagements. That's not something that we do. Your current clients do not set your speaking rate. So here's what I mean by this. If you already own a business and you charge like, I don't know, $500 an hour for copywriting or $1,200 an hour for copywriting, whatever you charge, that does not set your speaking rate at all. That does not set your speaking rate. You want to set your speaking rate based on the value that you can provide to clients. Now, I'll give you guys a general metrics, right? Like what's the average? The average professional full-time speaker's rate is $7,500 in the United States of America. That means there are people well above that. There are people well below that. But that is an average professional full-time speaking rate. So if you come in at that rate, if you're talking to the right clients, that's a whole different training. How do you target the right people? They should not be, oh my God, 7,500, unbelievable. So, like that should not be their response. So that's fine. That's the average rate in the marketplace. Now, where a lot of people start is in that $3,500 to $5,000 range. What we focus on and Speak Your Way to Cash and at the Academy and through a lot of my programs and at the Speak Your Way to Cash live event, boop, 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 which will sell out because it sells out every year. This is our 6th one and the best one yet. We focus on you creating a 5 or 6 figure corporate speaking package and specifically making sure you have packages $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and above, $100,000 and above that you can present to clients. Those packages will have a variety of pieces that clients can pull out, pick and choose from, but it allows you to build a business that speaking can actually, like something that can be sustainable. So that's what I focus on versus the one-time speech. But because most people start off doing one-time speaking engagements, I'm talking today about that. So there's that. One of the questions we got was, so how do you set your rate? What should you be thinking about in setting your rate? 7,500 is it's just average. Like it's for like a keynote or a workshop. Like it could be the same thing. The truth of the matter is there is no magic wand that you can use in setting your rate. Some speakers come out with calculators and things like that. The fact of the matter is your clientele is going to know what is average. For me personally, I think my rate started at, I think I got like $1,000 in the early years for a speech, for a one-time speech. And now we're at $15,000 for a one-time workshop that we do for a client. And that's the one-time workshop, but I really, really don't like working with clients one time. So I'm traditionally submitting, my average proposal value is $60,000 to $75,000 is what I'm submitting to clients at any given time. And that's average. So we have some above that, some below that. That's kind of where we like to come in. And that would include a variety of workshops and maybe 1 or 2 consulting sessions. That's the gist of it. So that's what we like to do over here. You know what I mean? These parts. That's what we like to do. So you do not know. A really good question. Do you need to be a specialist or a PhD to command higher rates? Now, this is a big myth. What I want to let you all know, and yeah, that's average for a one-time engagement. What I want you guys to know is that most of the speakers that I train in the Speaker Ready Cash Academy, the speeches that I give are not highly specialized in the sense that like you need to be a neuroscientist to give these speeches. Most people are talking about how soft skills can impact corporations. I don't want to like what I can't say. I want to say I was just reading one of my clients' proposals earlier, but I can't talk about, you know, what she has going on. But look, most of them are soft skills. So people are talking about things like empathy, diversity and inclusion, which is kind of specialized, right? Like that is a specialized thing. Listening skills, something that we talk about, confidence, kindness. Like these are the types of things that we're talking about. It's not highly specialized in that way. Now, the qualification for that comes from experiences that we've had, the way in which we present the information, the frameworks that we've developed to enhance these soft skills inside of organizations. That's where it gets like, all right, this is where the specialization comes in. So I'm not going to people like, hey, I'm gonna talk about empathy. Can you pay me 20 grand? Can you pay me 100 grand to come in and talk about that? No. There is I want to say this the right way. You're going to have a little bit of swag when you present these presentation topics. So what I mean by that is it's all about your packaging, your posturing. What do I mean by that? If you call something a consult, that's one thing. Everyone knows what a consult is. If you call it an immersion session, that sounds different. What's included in an immersion session? And then you break out the various things that are going to be included within that session, and you can command a higher rate because you've packaged it well. If you have a process by which people can go through and get a desired result. How do we work with, we do the currency of confidence. How do we work with schools all over the country and companies all over the country to build confidence? Well, we focus on the MBA method, the mindset, beliefs, and actions of the people that we're working with. And we have specific things that we're saying to them in order to build that confidence, activities that we do with them, lessons that we give to them, scientific data that backs up what we're saying to them. So there's research that goes into all of that. But at a base level, that can be developed. And for a lot of you, you already know an area. It's just about your packaging. Your packaging, your posturing, and quite frankly, your confidence. What a lot of people come to me and say is like, I can't find any paid speaking engagements. Here's why that's what everyone thinks they need. Everyone thinks they need to find paid speaking engagements. And I'm going to blow y'all mind with this, right? I could give you a list of 50 people who are willing to pay speakers right now today. People sell those lists online all the time. You can literally search ads of other speaking coaches and find those lists. They're out there. I even have like 5 organizations looking to hire speakers somewhere floating around the internet. Like that stuff is out there. Here's why that doesn't matter. I could give you 1,000. Here's the problem though. I give you 1,000 of those people. What are you going to say to them? Let's say I give you an email script. All right, I give you an email script, which I give it to my academy students. You send out the email script and they say, all right, I want to have a call with you about this. What are you going to say on the call? How are you going to posture what you're offering on the call? What language are you going to use to move the sales call forward? One of the sessions that we added to Speaker Ready Cash Live this year is literally a language lexicon. Like we're going to talk about phrases and terms that you need in your back pocket to move sales conversations forward. There are certain questions you should be asking on every sales call to move it forward. There are certain ways that you need to pivot when clients ask you for things outside of what you're going to provide for them within their package. And if you don't have that language, you can't move the conversations forward. The reason I started, I'm leaning because I'm about to tell y'all something. A lot of you watching this are people of color. I know that for a fact. Most of you are African American. I know that for a fact. I know my dad. I know people, I know what it is, right? I accept everyone. I work with everyone. But let me tell you why we as Black people specifically have been left out of so many opportunities over the years. All right. Let's talk to my people for a minute. We are left out Because of language. That's why we're left out. We are left out because we don't have the language to move the conversation forward. Now, people say, oh, I don't have the confidence to have those conversations. But guess what? You would have the confidence if you knew what to say. You would have the confidence if you had the language. Here's another key. Arrogance is based on nothing. It's based on air. That's like when people said there is a documentary about President Trump and it's called The Confidence Man. And I hate that because confidence is very different than arrogance. It's very different than putting yourself out there for knowing something you do not know. Confidence is based on preparation. It's based on you doing something over and over again, preparing effectively over a long period of time or a shorter period of time if you work with an expert that knows what they're doing, and then you're able to get a desired result. Here's what I hate about a lot of the coaching industry. I'm just going to say this and then I'm gonna move on because I really don't do a lot of like, oh, what I don't like about other coaches. That's not my style. But one thing that I really dislike is when someone puts themselves out there as knowing a certain thing and they only have surface level knowledge. I'm gonna just, in the church, they say, Selah, think about that, okay? They only have surface level knowledge. And how can you tell if someone only has surface level knowledge? Because once you begin to inquire about the specifics of what they do and how they do it, they can't answer the question with any level of specificity. Why? Because they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, that's why. Or they only know one area of the market. Right? They can't tell you with any depth how to do a particular thing. And be careful about that, because if you utilize the wrong language in these contract negotiations or in the pitch process, you will end up tricking yourself. And I see us do this all the time. You will end up tricking yourself out of opportunity because you think, oh, there's no paid opportunities out there, when really there are tons of paid opportunities out there. But if you don't have the language to locate them and close them, you will A, come in contact with someone that could be a paying client, but lose them, or B, spin your wheels because you're digging the wrong holes in the ground, right? But I'm gonna give y'all another tip. And I don't want this to come off contradictory, but if Odell's still on here, he may be able to attest to this. You can do the wrong thing consistently and still get results. Okay? You may not get the best results. You may not get optimal results. You may not even get the results that you want. But consistency, there's something to being consistent and getting results. And I'm going to just tell you guys how to get results as a speaker. What should you be doing? You should be prospecting, finding people who can work with you and pay for you, pitching, asking people to work with you and pay for you, and connecting, having phone conversations with people who can work with you and pay for you. You do those three things, even wrong, over time, you're going to get some results. They may not be great. They may not be optimal, but you're going to get something. Now, when you want to build a multi-6 and 7-figure speaking practice, here's what you do. Your prospecting looks very different. It's extraordinarily targeted. Because you're only going to, I don't waste my time. I'm not trying to talk to companies that don't have budgets, right? I'm not doing that at this point. It doesn't make sense. Now, in the beginning, I did it. And guess what? It was valuable. It was valuable because I learned how to better identify those organizations that were going to waste my time. Why? Because I did it a lot. I did it a lot. Now, my clients can avoid some of that because I have the experience to say, oh, no. I've done over 20,000 sales calls in my life. I have pitched over 5,000 colleges and universities within a 6-month period of time. I have had hundreds of calls with potential clients. This is the common thread amongst those individuals. This is the language that they're using. This is their buying cycle. Yes, I've talked to hundreds of corporate executives about bringing in my programs. This is the language they like to see. This is their pet peeve. This is when they buy. This is how you can tell whether they got the money or whether they got to get it from somebody else. These are the things that they appreciate about working with a vendor. This is what you can look forward to. This is when you'll be paid. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that you only get if you have experience actually doing the work. But for those of you right now who are like, look, I can't invest in nothing. I can't buy nothing. I don't have any time, blah, 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 blah. I won't even go into why those are all bad things to say, but whatever. Let's say you're saying that. You're thinking right now, you're thinking, oh, I don't have any money for this. I don't have time for this. Okay, cool. Here's what you should do. Do it wrong, but do it consistently, learn what you can, and try again, try again later. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you can do. Now, I work with people who don't like wasting time, who already have an income stream somewhere else, and they're looking to make speaking a real revenue stream for their business, but they don't want to do it if it's only going to result in like a couple $1,000s a year. That doesn't move their bottom line forward. And again, does it serve you personally? Now, this is this is why I decided to change my business model for my speaking business. It was the way I was doing it. One-off engagements, $3,000 to $5,000 a pop. It wasn't serving me personally anymore. I was on and off of planes several times a month, if not a week. I was running to catch flights. At the time I was flying coach. I mean, God is good. I don't really do that anymore, but I was flying coach. So like, I'm in these cramped seats. I was flying Spirit. If anyone knows about Spirit, okay. And why was I flying Spirit? I'm gonna just tell y'all all my little business. I was flying Spirit because I wasn't charging enough, and I would include my travel expenses. So of the little couple thousand I was getting, I had to spend a good grand of that on travel, and I wanted to keep my little coins. So I was like, well, let me just go on and fly Spirit, child, because I know I can get me a good rate anywhere, like $200-$300. So I'm cramped, right? Hair is hot mess. By the time I get there, I was staying in these these hotels that weren't good. So it wasn't serving me personally. So by the time I got on stage, I had been through Spirit customer service, right? Horrible. I'll just leave it at that. It was not normally a good experience. I was staying on a lumpy bed, right? We weren't kicking it at the Westin and the Ritz and the Peninsula, my favorite hotel, the Peninsula. No, none of that, right? And so it wasn't serving me personally. Now, how was it serving my business? The good thing about the one-off engagements, we'll start good, then go bad. The good thing about them was I was able to see so many people in a year that I developed a lot of client relationships. So that was the positive. The negative was when you're constantly selling a one-off speech, most of your clients don't think of you for the next opportunity because they think that's all you have is that one-off speech. If I would have on the front end went in with a larger 5 or 6 figure corporate proposal, and then on the back end, maybe they only purchased one speech in the very beginning, we would be better off, right? We could have a long-term conversation. So that is why it was not serving my business necessarily. So it wasn't serving me personally. It wasn't serving my business. It just wasn't, it wasn't doing it for me. And it wasn't sustainable long-term. It wasn't something that I felt I could eventually scale and grow into. It just wasn't. So those are the reasons why I shifted to really focusing on clients who wanted a deeper relationship with me and those that I wanted a deeper relationship with. The benefit now is that all of my client relationships are long-term. Like we're always thinking about, all right, cool. And what are we going to do next? All right, great. This is what we're going to start with. And then next year I'll come back and do this, or this quarter, we're going to focus on this. So we're having quarterly conversations, which is something that I've talked about before. We're having long-term conversations from the front end. All right. So I'm not seeing any comments. If y'all have questions about anything, please let me know. I'm going to be on here for a little bit longer, but I did want to let you all know mindset shifts. Mindset shifts. One, I want you tonight to visualize someone giving you a check for $175,000 for speaking and consulting services. How does that make you feel? Right? How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Then I want you to imagine yourself fully competent to deliver at a high level on that contract. Because guess what? I'm not one of those people that's going to tell you, you don't have to know anything to do this. No. You got to show up. You got to crush it when you get on stage. I'm very good at hopping on stage and delivering a keynote or delivering a workshop or making sure that my clients have a good experience and communicating with them on a consistent basis. All of that is a part of delivery. If you can't deliver, you won't get repeat business. I can't teach you, like we can work on your delivery. I can talk about customer mapping, which is something I talk about to my students, but you have to be able to deliver. I always say that in my videos because I want to ward off scammers. So I want to work with people who know they know something, right? We could work on packaging it. That's very different. If you don't know how to package your expertise, but you know you have one, we can work. I got you on that. You know what I mean? But you are going to have to deliver a really good speech. So that's why I say, one, imagine yourself getting the check. Two, imagine yourself how it feels to know that you can crush it. You can deliver on that statement of work. You can crush all of your deliverables. You know what you need to know to do the work that you're supposed to do. Because here's another tip I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you this. If you do not believe that you can land high-paying speaking engagements, you'll never pitch, even if I gave you the template. That belief accounts for 90%. Okay, I'm going to say it again. If you do not believe that your efforts will produce the desired result, i.e. paid engagements, large contracts, etc., you won't do the work. If you believed 100% that pitching would lead to you landing high-paying engagements, if you knew what to say and all of that, you would do whatever it took to learn the process. Most of us don't even give ourselves the opportunity to get those, whatever your dream is, right? We don't even give ourselves the opportunity to get the contracts, to get the check, to get the dream job or the dream client that we want, because we don't even learn the steps. Why don't we learn the steps? Because deep down, we don't believe it can work for us. Not that it can work theoretically. I don't need you to, because most of you watching believe that I can do it, obviously, right? You believe I can go out and land a contract. That's why you're watching now. But do you believe that you can do it? And if you don't believe that you can do it, or you think that it's going to be challenging for you to do it, I want you to know, if you learn the steps, you can do it. If you have some level of expertise that we can package, you can do it. Here's how I can tell your belief. If speaking is something that you want, legitimately, like you really want to make it a revenue stream, okay, check. That's what you want. That's one is cool. You know, I want to lose some weight, right? Just had a baby not too long ago. Wouldn't mind losing some weight. But until I decide to lose the weight and actually do all the steps that it takes, my wants don't matter. So I'm looking for people who have decided that this year or next year, you're going to land some large contracts. Why? Because you have a family to serve, because you don't want to have to work 12 months out of the year, because you want to be able to we took a month off and rented a house in Arizona and relaxed. Like we did what we wanted to do. I hired my husband. That was dope, mainly because I didn't like he was at a job and I just didn't think that they were capitalizing on his brilliance. And I'm like, man, you should come work with me. And he had requirements before I could hire him, but we were able to hire him. And those things may or may not be your goal, but I want you to think about, oh, this is a really good question. I'm going to answer this question next. So stick around. I'm going to answer your question. I want you to think about this. How do you want your life to feel? Okay. Everyone talks about revenue goals and money and all that stuff. And my clients make money. I make money. That's fine. But I did not decide I wanted to make $700,000 before making it. What I decided was I wanted to live a certain life. It was like, all right, I want to take 3 months off out of every year. And I want to be able to travel with my entire family. And I want to be able to work in whatever country or state I want to work within. And I don't want to have hundreds of clients. I want to have 50 high value clients at max. And I want to be able to hire people to do every other piece of the job outside of delivering the speech. So I wanted all of these things. And that was tied to how I wanted my life to feel, right? So now we're not talking about, I'm sorry, guys. So now we're not talking about revenue goals like, oh, I need to make $1 million. I need to make $100,000. That's cool. We can get there. But first, how do you want your life to feel? And then decide that you're going to live that life. Now, after you have those two things down, what can you do? You can then build a business that supports that lifestyle. You can absolutely do that because you're clear on how you want your life to feel. Personally, having a particular lifestyle motivates me far more than making a particular amount of money. But that's just me. I mean, y'all, some people are motivated purely by money. Like, if you pay me, I'll do it. I don't care what it is. Other people like me, I'm motivated by lifestyle. I don't want to have to check my account at the grocery counter, right? I don't want to have a boot on my car. Like, I've been there, right? Like, I don't want to live someplace that's mad dangerous. I've been there. I live like 38th in California in Chicago. And I remember looking at the crime scanner and it was always jumping. And my husband was like, stay off that website. But I was like, oh no, never again. This is motivation for me. So for me, it was about a lifestyle. Eventually we may scale the business and it won't just be about a lifestyle. It'll be about all these other things. I want to be able to hire the top caliber contractors that I can, right? So all of that goes to lifestyle. How do you want your life to feel? I don't care, because your revenue goals, to be real, for most people, after you make a certain amount, and I don't know what that amount is, your revenue goals aren't going to motivate you enough to get up. They're not. But me having 3 months off, oh yeah, that'll motivate me. So you need to think about what motivates you. How do you want your life to feel? Because I'm telling you that there is a way in which you can use high-paying speaking contracts to get the lifestyle and the life you want. We recently went to Greenwich, Connecticut for a week to record something that's dropping on Friday. Okay, so you may have heard about this, but we're dropping something on Friday for the Speak Get Ready to Cash live event. And you can learn about this event at speakgetreadytocash.com/event. But we went to Greenwich, Connecticut because I wanted to work with a particular videographer that was out there. Okay, cool. So we go there and I get there and we've been looking really hard for a nanny in Chicago. So if y'all know anyone amazing, let me know. Okay. We have someone part-time who's amazing right now, but we really want someone close to full-time. And we went to Greenwich, Connecticut. And I looked up the area and on Google, it said this area is 70% safer than all surrounding areas. It also said that it had like one of the highest density of white collar professionals that work out of New York versus any other area. And it had so many 10, 50, $60 million homes in this area. And we rented like a multi-million-dollar home and we were staying there. Now, here's what I loved about it. Because I was like, man, Chris, this is nice. Like, this area is so nice. But you know what? We called a nanny agency and within 5 hours, they had us a list of like qualified, highly credentialed nannies that could help with watching the baby while we were working. Within hours. I've been looking for this for weeks in Chicago, but within hours they had that. Our concierge sent us like a list of the best restaurants in town. All of them were within a mile. All the grocery stores were within a mile. It was 100% safe. People leave their doors unlocked there. And so everything we wanted was within 5 minutes of us at any given time because we were in a very wealthy neighborhood. I looked to my husband and I said, you know what wealth gets you? If you're wealthy, you could basically price out of inconvenience. Imagine how frustrating it is. I know, okay, because I've been at all different levels in terms of having money. Like we've had to go to Walgreens to buy a pack of gum and get like $4 back because we couldn't afford to get $20 out the ATM. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've been there, right? And now we're doing pretty good. But really, the thing that I hated most about struggling financially, and let me know if you all relate to this at all, was how inconvenient it was. Like everything was an inconvenience. So for me, I'm not chasing a particular dollar amount. I want a particular lifestyle. I want to be comfortable. I want to live happy, fulfilled. I want to be able to bless whoever I want to bless without a second thought. And I want to be able to do it consistently without laborious work every single day of my life. That's my goal. So if you have goals like that, we can help you to reach those goals. Now, someone asked, when you're speaking, especially high dollar speeches, how important is it to give a unique perspective versus the status quo? Really good question. Here's what I would say about that. It's not, you should have a unique spin on a consistent topic. People are always going to want to know about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But what's your unique spin on it? So like I do a lot of speeches about empathy, but I approach it using humor and storytelling. And I talk about the love method of communication, which is not something that you hear in this, well, diplomacy, love, kindness. Those are things that we need now. They shouldn't be controversial, but they kind of are if you look at where we're at in the world. And so I think it is important for you to have a perspective. One, just have a perspective. Have a perspective. It may not necessarily be a super unique or different perspective that no one's ever heard before, but have a clear perspective. Have a framework or a methodology that you can use to take people through a process and own it. And what do I mean by own it? Own your intellectual property. So if you have a framework, get the trademark for it. At Speak Your Way to Cash, we teach the paid method. The currency of confidence is a registered trademark of our firm. We have frameworks that we own that no one else should be able to deliver without me suing them. You should own it because that is a value proposition that you can sell to your clients. We teach this methodology, something that we developed and created. And once you have a methodology, you can build all types of workbooks, tools, surveys, all types of stuff around that unique framework or methodology that you have. And that gets you into a higher realm. So look, guys, this was a good conversation. I am committed to going live more. I have some cool things popping off this week. Friday at 11 a.m., I am launching something really cool. So if you look at my most recent posts on my Facebook page or on Instagram, you can see more about that. Make sure you're on my list. You can go to AshleyNicoleKirkwood.com and click connect with us to join my list. But here's what I want you to do if you're a speaker and you're actually looking to do some of the things that we talked about and you want guidance on that. We have a Speak Your Way to Cash Academy. Registration is now closed for that. It will reopen a little bit later this year. So definitely let me know if you're interested in that. But here's what I would do. Here's what I'll do. And I will recap the mindset shifts. Here's what I'll do. If you want to come to my event, this event sells out every year, months in advance. So do not let the fact that it's in November shy you away from getting your ticket now. We have early bird pricing. Pricing will go up. Okay, after the early bird pricing period, which I think ends in like 20 or so days. Get your tickets to the live event at speakyourwaytocash.com/event. Speakyourwaytocash.com/event. Get your tickets today. You can either pay in full or you can split your payments in 4 different payments. So get your tickets today for Speak Your Way to Cash Live 2021, where we will be taking a deep dive into all things building 5- and 6-figure corporate speaking offers and what that looks like. This is going to be the best one yet. We've 10x the budget from last year to make sure that you all have the absolute best experience. You can read all the reviews about it. This is our 6th event. I'm not testing this out on y'all. I am true to this, not new to this. So get your tickets at speakyourwaytocash.com/events now before it sells out. Every year, there's some of you that wait until a couple months before the event and you're like, oh, did anyone cancel? Can I please get a ticket? We didn't have anyone cancel last year. I think maybe one person may have canceled, but like, what are the odds? Okay. This event it's virtual. It's 3 days this year instead of 2. We're going to work in breakout sessions and some other like more deep dive hot seats and intensive level things. And the workbook is about to be bananas, and people who attend are going to get my Speak Your Way to Cash book. So you'll get that in your welcome box. It's going to be off the chain. So go to speakyourwaytocash.com/event and register. To recap, the mindset shifts. Your rate is not your worth. Your job does not set your rate. Your current clients don't set your rate. And then another bonus is like there are various speaking models that can work for your business, but you need to choose one based on your lifestyle desires. What lifestyle do you want to lead, and how can you most effectively serve clients at the highest level without giving everything of yourself, right? It doesn't serve my clients for me to be tired, worn out, and overextended. It just doesn't. I don't think I can serve my best that way, and I don't think most people can either. So I want you all to join me at the Speak Your Way to Cash live event. Just go to speakyourwaytocash.com/event and then check all my social channels Friday at 11 a.m. to see something that's dropping in relation to the event. Oh, yes. We got VJ says it is a great event. Yes. Okay, definitely. Please do. Speakyourwaytocash.com/event. And on Instagram, you can check the link in my bio. But I'm going to do more of these videos this week. I really will. If you aren't on my list, get on it. I did give you all a heads up about this video tonight. I'm definitely going to do more. But here's what I want you all to remember. Okay. This is going to sound very cliche, but you can literally have whatever lifestyle you want once you decide to get it. Meaning once you make a concrete decision that I'm going to get it. And what that looks like is you decide you're going to live that lifestyle. You do whatever it takes to get the information you need to transform your own business first and the lives of your clients. All right. Because if you serve clients at all, I cannot serve clients and teach you guys these strategies if I'm not confident and clear enough to go out and get the business that I need to get to make my business run, right? So be very careful saying that you want things that you haven't decided to get. When you want something, you will make a decision and you will do whatever it takes to get it. So if you're someone who wants to make speaking a revenue stream, make the decision to come to Speak Your Way to Cash Live, get the information you need, which you know is good. We got all these testimonials and everything else. But let's get after it, because I'm gonna tell you guys something. As a Black woman in America, let me just say this on today. I am not going to be underpaid. I am not going to be devalued. And I am not going to shy away from having the courageous conversations that I need to have to get my rate, not my worth. They can't afford that. But corporations, organizations, institutions that profited from a lot of times slavery and injustice in this country, the least they could do is pay this well-qualified Black woman her full rate each and every time. And I hope you all feel the same. Okay, I'm gonna just say that on that. All right, because we got trials going on and everything else, and I ain't gonna go there because I'm gonna get all off topic and off subject. But the very least we could get in this country called America is capital at this point. All right, so I'll see y'all at the event, speakyourwaytocash.com/event. And I will talk to you guys soon. Share this video if you can. Share it out. Tell your friends. I'm going to keep it up for as long as I can. Tell everybody. This was free information, free content. Share it far and wide. Because I do this work because I don't necessarily want to help. I don't want to just help us get into these companies and negotiate our salaries. I want to help us negotiate contracts as vendors at these organizations so that we can do things like protect our intellectual property, license trainings to these corporations, and get paid far more than we would if we were working there as an employee. So that's my personal mission and call. That's what I want to do. Yeah, it's great us getting, I get it. When I was in corporate, I negotiated my salary too, but I want to help people who have traditionally been passed over, looked over, disenfranchised, walk into major corporations and negotiate their contract with confidence and ease because they know what they should be demanding in the marketplace. The very least they can do for us is pay us. Not our worth, but that rate is a requirement. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see you guys at the event in November.